Welcome back, friends, to the mystery of Jack the Ripper. This is the final part. Time does not soften the edges of the Ripper story. Instead, it sharpens them. As the years stretch into decades, and then into centuries, the absence of certainty transforms the murders from historical crimes into a permanent riddle. Jack the Ripper no longer belongs solely to Victorian London. He belongs to cultural memory, to fear itself, to the unanswered spaces where explanation fails. Long after the last gas lamp of Whitechapel is extinguished, the figure of the Ripper continues to walk. He appears in novels, films, academic journals, and late-night conversations. He becomes shorthand for the unknown killer, the faceless predator, the embodiment of urban dread. Other murderers are caught, tried, named, and buried beneath legal records. Jack the Ripper escapes all of that. He remains free, forever undefined. The persistence of the mystery raises a deeper question. What is it about this particular case that refuses to die? London has known countless murders, many just as brutal, yet none have echoed so loudly through time. The answer lies not only in the violence, but in the moment in which it occurred. Victorian society stood at a crossroads. Science promised answers. Industry promised order. The modern world was taking shape, confident in its ability to classify, measure, and control. Jack the Ripper shattered that confidence. He demonstrated that even in the most powerful city on earth, chaos could still reign. Progress could not protect the vulnerable. Knowledge could not identify the killer. Authority could not impose closure. The murders exposed social fractures that polite society preferred to ignore. Extreme poverty existed alongside immense wealth. Women could be discarded and forgotten. Immigrants could be blamed without evidence. The East End became a symbol of everything the empire feared about itself. Jack the Ripper was not just a murderer. He was a revelation. As criminology evolves, experts attempt to retroactively profile the killer. They analyze behavior patterns, victim selection, timing, and escalation. They debate whether the murders were sexually motivated, driven by misogyny, or fueled by psychosis. They consider whether the killer was organized or impulsive, confident or desperate. Each profile narrows possibilities while expanding uncertainty. Modern forensic science teases the possibility of resolution. Advances in DNA analysis offer hope, but the evidence is too degraded, too compromised, too disputed. Every new claim of scientific proof is met with skepticism. The past resists examination. It guards its secrets fiercely. Even the letters attributed to the Ripper remain contested. Some argue that at least one must be authentic, pointing to knowledge of details not yet public. Others counter that newspapers leaked information freely and hoaxers were plentiful. The letters may say more about the era's hunger for sensation than about the killer himself. In this sense, Jack the Ripper becomes a collaboration between murderer and media. Without the press, the killings might have remained localized horrors. With it, they became global news. Fear traveled faster than the killer ever could. The Ripper was named, illustrated, and mythologized in real time. He was turned into a character while still at large. That transformation altered the relationship between crime and public consciousness forever. Serial killers would henceforth be known not just for their actions, but for their narratives. Jack the Ripper set the template. Yet for all the analysis and speculation, the core truth remains brutally simple. Real women were killed. Their deaths were violent, terrifying, and final. They felt pain. They felt fear. They were alone in their last moments. The mystery must not erase that reality. Marianne Nichols walked the streets looking for shelter and was found murdered before dawn. Annie Chapman sought enough money for a bed and never returned. Elizabeth Stride died steps away from safety. Catherine Eddowes was released from a police cell only hours before her death. Mary Jane Kelly died in the place she called home. These are not symbols, they are lives interrupted. The fascination with Jack the Ripper risks granting him the very power he sought, whatever his motive may have been. Power through fear, power through attention, power through silence. To remember the victims fully is to resist that power. And yet, the mystery cannot simply be dismissed. It continues to matter because it challenges assumptions about justice and knowledge. It reminds us that some truths remain unreachable, not because they are hidden, but because they were never fully captured. Records fail, witnesses lie or forget, evidence decays. History is incomplete by nature. Jack the Ripper exists in that incompleteness. He is not just a man who killed, but a question mark burned into the past. He is the reminder that certainty is fragile. Perhaps the killer was suspected, but never charged. Perhaps he was confined to an asylum, his crimes unspoken. Perhaps he emigrated, changed his name, and lived quietly. Perhaps he died shortly after his last murder. Each possibility is plausible. None can be proven. The desire to solve the case often says more about the present than the past. Each new theory reflects contemporary fears and values. When distrust of elites rises, the killer becomes aristocratic. When mental illness is misunderstood, the killer becomes mad. When science advances, the killer leaves biological traces. Jack the Ripper adapts, not because he changes, but because we do. In the end, the mystery survives because it is useful. It teaches caution. It exposes inequality. It warns against complacency. It reminds us that violence can emerge from neglect as much as malice. Whitechapel was not just the setting of the crimes, it was the condition that allowed them. Modern London bears little physical resemblance to the East End of 1888, but echoes remain. Inequality persists. Vulnerability persists. The story endures because its foundations have not entirely disappeared. To stand on those streets today is to stand on layers of memory. The past is invisible but present, folded into the ground. Somewhere between the cobblestones and the shadows, the unanswered questions linger. Who was Jack the Ripper? The question has no final answer, and perhaps that is its true legacy. Not every story resolves. Not every crime is solved. Not every darkness is illuminated. What remains is the obligation to remember, not just the mystery, but the people at its heart. To remember the women who died nameless to history until death forced the world to look. To remember the city that failed them. To remember the silence that followed. Jack the Ripper disappears into that silence, undefined, unresolved, and unclaimed. And maybe that is where he belongs. Thanks, friends, for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Crime Chronicles US for more chilling unsolved mysteries from across America. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next story.